Today on Living Survival, it is snowing. Today on Living Survival, we're going to take a look at a few Snugpak products. One has been around a while, but there is not many videos on YouTube about it, and that's the Snugpak Cave, their 4-person tent. Pretty sweet tent. And then we're also going to take a look at 2 of their new sleeping mats. Come along on this snowy winter day. Let's take a look. So here is the Snugpak Cave, a 4-person, 4-season tent from Snugpak. You can see there is a decent amount of snowfall on the tent. I've had this setting out for nearly a month in heavy wind, rain, and snow just to see how it would hold up, how weatherproof, how windproof it is, and it has not let me down. So let's go ahead and shake some of the snow off and take a closer look. So as with any tent, especially 4-season tents that you're going to use in the wintertime, you want to minimize any sort of buildup. So daily or as you get a few inches on there, you definitely want to shake that accumulation of snow off. Now with the rain, I had absolutely no problems. It rolls right off. There weren't any collection points. It is sort of a standard tent design here on the right, and then added to that you have this little extra sort of bonus wing here. You have a vestibule on this side, and then on the other side you have another vestibule. Now these vestibules are a little bit different, which is kind of cool. This side has a zip down the center so that you can get in and out, not only in the center, but you could also tie those wings straight out and sort of give yourself a windbreak with an opening at the top, allowing you to cook right outside there with maybe a gas burner or something like that. You obviously want to be very, very careful. But on this side, it zips all the way around the perimeter on the black surface there. So 2 different ways to enter and exit the tent. Again, that's not only nice for storing your gear on both sides or either side, or cooking on one side, or shoes or boots that you don't want to bring into the tent, but it's also nice that you can get out on either side without having to crawl over any other people or gear that may be in the tent. Just like many of their other tents around the perimeter, there are these vents. These can be tied out to stay open. They sort of have sort of a material in here that allows it to keep its shape when out, and there's also Velcro on there that you can use to Velcro it shut. In the wintertime, probably a good idea to keep those open. It keeps the ventilation going and minimizes any kind of condensation buildup. So you can see that there is another vent there, another vent there. All around the tent you have these tie outs that you could tie out in really heavy winds. Again, I had this in some pretty heavy winds without it being tied out, and it stayed rock solid. They do give you 25 stakes, so not only tying out the perimeter, but also being able to tie out these extra guy lines. If you were expecting heavy snow, you could also tie these out to give you a little bit more support, but I wanted to see how well the poles supported it, and so far it's doing fantastic, even with a decent amount of snow on there. Now this tent uses the DAC Featherlight poles. I really won't buy a tent that doesn't have DAC poles. I just find that they're the best out there. They, you know, I have yet to break one. I've broken other poles or bent other poles. The Featherlight poles are not only light, but they're definitely durable as well. So let's take a look at the vestibules and the opening of the tent. Now there is Velcro. That Velcros the zipper flap down. That's nice. The water's going to run right off it. It's going to keep any kind of moisture from getting in on those zippers. So even on your vestibule, you have protection from the elements. So we can go ahead and just zip this side open. And again, the 2 sides are different. So on this side, you have the vestibule that opens on this side. It can also be unzipped from this side, so it gives 2 different entrance points, which is nice. You can see there's no snow on the ground. I've had this tent set up out here quite a while. And then you have your entry, a big entry at that, into the tent. You see on this side of the tent, you have quite a bit of overhang, which I really like, because you can keep this one side of the tent open, or the other side, and you still have protection from the elements. So if you had your pack in there, you could still have this one side open. Maybe you have a fire, maybe you have other people that you're talking to. You can keep one of these doors open and then still have your gear stay nice and dry in bad weather. So this side is a little bit different. Again, you do have vestibule space, but this one zips down the center. What's nice about this one, and again, you have those Velcro flaps that will Velcro out, So you not only have an entrance here, you have a smaller vestibule, but then these can be tied out as well in sort of a maybe a diamond pattern, and you're going to get more vestibule space once you do so. So for just having one side open, you use the other side because it's got that overhang to it. This side is simply either an entrance, or you can tie these out and give yourself a little bit more room when the weather is nice. So on this side there is no overhang, it simply just drops down right from the top of the tent, so you do have less space, but it is nice that you do have an extra vestibule, not only that but an extra exit, and you can tie out these flaps, giving yourself more room in there. And then of course you have the double layer door, bathtub floor, just like you have on the other side. There is also toggles on each of the vestibules so that you can tie them back or tie them open. Assembly is straightforward. You have color-coded poles that go into color-coded sleeves. You basically just have a standard X pattern for the main body of the tent, and then you have just this extra loop section here with a pole that allows to give you that overhang. So hopefully you can see here that I am able to sit up on my knees or kneel down without touching the top of this overhang section here. So there is room to sit in here, and that gives you an idea of how much room there really is. So plenty of room in this front vestibule for gear, or again you could put a small stove here and cook up a meal without getting wet because you have the nice overhang. So again, here's a shot of that overhang, plenty of room, and then the floor plan on the inside. Now I have a 6-foot long top quilt set up in here, and you can see with it extended all the way out, you have room still on the top and room still on the bottom. You could again get 4 people in here, or 3 comfortably, or 2 with a ton of gear. But since you have the 2 vestibules, gear is really not a problem. I know size is really hard to show on a camera, but hopefully you can see my boots there and how much room you truly have under this overhang portion. The entire inner is mesh, so it breathes really well if you keep these vents open. Snugpak tents have a tendency to get really warm in the hot months. They do better in the cold months, and this one is no exception. It would be fairly hot in here probably in the summer months, but with this tent, these wide doors that have the double on them where you can open up just the mesh layer instead of the wind protection layer. And since there's a door on both sides, you have that cross ventilation. So I really think this tent, although I didn't test it, would stay quite cool in the summer months as well. The mesh lining, again, as long as you leave those vents open, you're gonna have very little problem with condensation. Other than the stuff pockets on the bottom, there is an additional hook up top here that you could hang a lantern from. Other than that, pretty straightforward. The doors are double duty, so you have this heavier layer here that's going to block the wind, and then you also have a mesh layer here, kind of hard to see on camera, but it is there. So double layer, and then if you wanted to open the whole door, again, there's a separate zip for that, and you can open into your vestibule. There's also a stuff pocket on the side. The doors do open all the way, so you can stuff that extra material in there, keep it off your floor, keep it out of the way when you're leaving the door fully open. Now I wanted to show you 2 of Snugpak's new sleeping mats as well. These are their base op sleeping mats. The one in the back there is a inflatable, which operates with a foot pump, which is nice. You can just sit there and pump it with your foot. Pumps up rather quickly. They also have a pillow. The one in the front here is a self-inflating mat. It has a included pillow, so a thicker section there. These are nice in the winter time because you simply just throw them in your shelter, open the valve, and they self-inflate. They're generally not as thick as the air mattresses are, but they're not as loud. And again, they're more simple to set up, especially if you have rain or snow or muddy conditions where you don't want to lay your air mat down to pump it up. You can, of course, blow the air mattress up, but when doing so, especially in the wintertime, you're going to get that condensation in your breath in your pad, and it can cause it to mold. So you really want to use a external pump, or in the case of this mat, it has the foot pump, which is pretty cool. So 2 new sleeping mat options from Snugpak. So these pads work really well in the cave. You can see that not only do you have extra room in the head end, but you have extra room in the foot end as well. Nothing is worse than a floor plan that is too small to fit a sleeping pad comfortably. And plenty of room here in the cave. So here is how they stuff down. Again, the tent being in front has a nice stuff sack to it, zipper across with compression straps. Again, a little bit too heavy to take backpacking, but you could use it as a base camp type tent or definitely a car camping tent for the family. The self-inflate mat above that, again, larger size, not something you're gonna take hiking. You could, however, take the air mattress hiking. Those generally will pack down smaller and much lighter for a hiking or backpacking setup. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. The Snugpak cave has plenty of room. I like that you can fit a full-size mat in it with some room to spare. So if you are 6 foot, you should be okay. A lot taller than that, and you may have an issue, as with most tents, with that particular floor plan or layout. I do like this fact that it has 2 vestibules and they're different, so you can open up the one side and store your gear. You can sort of cook on the other side, or vice versa, and as well as being able to get out on both sides when you are in there with multiple people. Nothing is worse than having to crawl over another person, especially if it's not your children or a significant other. The quality is right up there. It's definitely weatherproof in my opinion. Does work great in the wintertime with minimal condensation. It does breathe really well if you keep those flaps out, and it definitely can withstand some pretty heavy-duty wind even without using the tie-outs. As I said, I've had it out here for about a month now, and it has not leaked. It has not blown over and has not been compromised in any way in heavy winds, rain, and snow. I don't buy a tent unless they have the DAC poles, and again, most if not all of the Snugpak tents have them, and it also comes with, I believe, 25 stakes, so plenty of stakes to not only stake out the perimeter, the vestibules, but also those added tie-out lines if you had, you know, gale force winds. So all in all, I think it's a great tent, a great 4-season tent with lots of room, not only width and lengthwise, but also height-wise as well. You can sit up in there, which is great. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please give it a big thumbs up for me. Make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of not only the tent, but the sleeping pads as well. They make great accessories as well. We've looked at sleeping bags. We've looked at other sleeping mats. We've looked at other tents. So as far as Snugpak, most of their equipment comes in at a decent quality for a decent price, and you really can't go wrong. I'm also going to put some links below to Snugpak as well as Amazon below in the description if you guys want to pick one or more of the products up from Snugpak. They do also have hammocks. I've reviewed those as well. Please share this video to your friends and family on your social media, and if you haven't already done so, click that red subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified of new videos.